Hey, it's Greg Colossale, and this is another business video. My glasses are a little steamed up here. Yeah, that's cool. That's right. You'll see them defog as I keep on going. Having a little tea, and they steamed up my glasses. I believe it's video number 6, but I'm losing count. So I'll just tell you what the title is. We are talking about who you surround yourself with at your business. The most powerful thing that I received in a sense of being a leader was something that took me a long time to actually realize. You see, folks, when you have your own company, as opposed to having a job or a family or a group, is that you get to hand pick everyone who is going to be part of your workday. You get to pick them. And it is an amazing part of this concept of starting a business. Now, not everybody has employees or has staff. Every business is different. I'm not saying you need that. But I was able to grow by growing my staff. It was directly connected to my growth. And I was amazed at what I learned about humans, what I learned about myself, what I felt, and how I changed, and what I stole. I always call it stealing from great people that surrounded me, what I rejected from people that were also around me. You won't believe what happens to you when you are a leader of amazing people. Now, this doesn't just, I'm not really talking about just one business. I've had a few. It's a kind of a mix. I'm going to be talking about a mix of different creations that I made, but it's all the same thing. Inside of, when I needed a resource, so in the music school, if I needed another voice teacher, I had to think about what that voice teacher needed to do. I'm a man who can teach voice, so immediately I thought, get a girl. It's a great way to be different, especially because the arts really do sell to about 80 to 85% girls. And then you put out an ad or you start to search and you don't even know what that means. Okay, you think a girl is good. And a girl was crucial for me to have around because I'm a guy. And I would have, 50 students in the building, and 47 of them were girls. So it's very important for me to have women around to help my female students feel comfortable and if they need help and stuff, they don't have to worry about some burly dude coming in and helping them. They'll get help from a woman. So this was a big part of my business model because I needed the help. Excuse me. Now, what you don't realize when you put out an ad is that the people who come to look for jobs, you attract like people a lot of the times. Very seldom did I have someone show up to an interview who was 25 steps below my expectations. They might have been 2 steps below my expectations. But for the most part, people would arrive to the school and they would be 12 steps beyond my expectations. And what that does to you as a leader is so humbling, it almost can make you cry. It made me cry all the time. There was a point after our growth, we spent a good strong few years together, and around me I had a lyric soprano who was world traveled and so educated and amazing and tender and so talented. It was crazy. I had another soprano who was extremely disciplined, well-rounded, again, assertive, great, not only great examples of singers, but great examples of women. Just like a bonus that you get to tell everyone about, like, oh, and you're talking Yale educated and opera houses around the world and European experience and on and on and on and on. And they were my staff. These were the people. When you go to McDonald's, you order a hamburger. When you came to Backbeat City, you ordered a voice teacher. And I would say, well, choose from any of these amazing people. Do you know what that feels like? I can shed a tear to tell you that, in fact, you know, we were close. We were professional, which is how I run things. We didn't go out drinking together. There was no relationships in the school like that. So at a moment of tenderness during or before a Christmas concert or something like that, and I was surrounded by maybe four or five just amazing women. Okay, teachers, administrators, helpers of moms, lawyers. They all had different names. They all had different credentials. And I just stopped one time and I said, hey, ladies, can I say something? It's completely off the cuff, probably unprofessional, but this is my school, so I don't mean anything distasteful. I got to tell you, I feel very, very empowered, very lucky, very special to be surrounded by such talented, such heartfelt, such smart, intelligent women. And I'm going to say that one thing that everyone hates when you say it, and I can't believe how beautiful all of you are. And it's crazy that in my life, this is my life. I wanted you to know that I am humbled by you. And I will never say another word about how beautiful you are again. But I will always tell you that I am so proud to offer. Oh man, they're good. To offer you as a service to the community. I mean, I couldn't even drew up a better group of people. They were real. They weren't even make believe. So this is what I'm trying to tell you is the most, I don't know, I think it is. It's the best part of being a leader, owning a business. It's not fun when you have to fire somebody, and we're going to talk about that now. Or, let's talk about that. So I've had to do that a few times. Now, not to any of the people that I just described, but at one time, I don't want to say too much, but at one time I had a teacher who was extremely talented. He was really, really talented. And he was trustworthy, which is almost more important than anything, because I'm giving you kids. And if you make a kid feel weird, I'm gonna get you. You can't mess with people's kids. I won't let you do that. But he had this one idiosyncrasy. He loved drugs. Like, he loved drugs. He never told me or seemed to be on drugs when he was with me. But he spoke about drugs in a way that you might talk about your favorite baseball player. And I wanted to be cool, and I wanted to be, not, I don't know, just not so aggressively judgmental. But I realized you can't talk so freely about drugs and then me give you a 10-year-old. So once I noticed he couldn't stop, and I think what he was trying to do was test, he wanted me to fire him. Some young folks don't know themselves enough, so they don't want to do what they're doing. So they create an environment where you are the bad guy and they could walk away being a victim. And that was fine. I sensed it, and I had no time to waste. I can't be like, well, maybe he won't talk about drugs on Tuesdays. No. But he's not a bad person. He's not a bad person. He's actually a really amazing guy who, in those years, was fascinated by altering his state. So I had to fire him. I fired some folks in my day. And I'm not going to talk about them and expose them all. I'm just going to tell you that sometimes a firing, well, let me tell you this one phrase that one of my mentors taught me. Fire quickly, hire slowly. Or reverse, hire slowly, fire quickly. There is no reason that somebody can be in the business, in the nest, I call it, who's doing horrible things, making people feel horrible, and all that, and you think it's going to get better. You think they're just having a bad day or a bad week and then a bad month. Anytime I had, because I sold mostly people's abilities, I didn't sell hamburgers, I sold lessons with teachers, which is like selling people's abilities. Once my manager and I, we would talk, we'd say, look, if we talk about Steven every time we meet, then the problem lies in Steven. Okay, it's not us. We're just trying to be nice and act like it's us. So we would say that, okay, if we talk about Steven 3 more times, Steven's got to go. And that pattern, that was real, and we did it. We would let people go who seemed to be the topic of our conversations all the time. Now, when you do that, or when you understand that, you're the bad guy. I always did the firing. I never put it on the staff, the crew. I had the final word in the hiring, and I had I was the face of the firing. That's part of that's part of the freedom. You can't have freedom if you can't have direct face-to-face conflict. So I look back now, and because I was lied to by a few folks, in other words, you can't tell me you can play the piano, and then when I give you 30 kids and some music, I don't hear any piano. So I understand lying to get the job. I can almost respect that, almost. Then you work all night and day for me never to understand that you lied, but you really produce. And I would let you do that because I understand people need to make money. But if you lie and you are called out on it and it's really obvious and it's really bad, then I find myself stranded in a direct conflict situation. So I've had some moments where I don't want to relive them. I'm not going to talk about them here. But you have to realize that people will lie to you. Coming into your company, you will have alcoholics, drug addicts. Let's stop right there. You will have people who have habits that they hide in order to stay inebriated on some chemical or liquid because they're in a situation of addiction. Now, they're not going to tell you that. They need a job. They don't see it as a problem, and it's usually not a problem. And then you start to see patterns or smell stuff or da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, come on, man, I can't. Again, because I'm with kids, I'm very, very, very hard on everybody with that stuff. Then I one time had a person lie to me so bad about her credentials, it was embarrassing. I have an MBA from Brown and da-da-da-da, and it all comes out as a lie. That is the hardest part, is when then you start to do background checks because you're getting nervous. You're like, how do I know? I'm a small company. I have no money. This person wants to work for me, and I got to drop all this money to learn if they're lying, okay? Well, that's the best money you could spend. In one swift background check, people are found out. And then you can make a decision. I mean, if they had a DUI or something, it doesn't seem like they're going to harm a kid. But if they have a lot of massive, big-time crimes or violence, assaults and stuff, I can't take a risk. We're not big enough to handle that. And it's not fair. It is not fair to the person. It is awful. I don't want to be that way. But I was never big enough to protect them. I wish I was so big I could hire, people who have felonies that did, small little thing, or people who turn their life around. I would love that. That would make me so happy. But When you're a startup, small company, you don't have any of those resources, and it could just blow you out of the water. You'll be unemployed faster than they will be. So remember that line, you hire slowly and you fire quickly. What does that mean? Well, it means when you're going about bringing someone on board, you got to go nice and easy. Sometimes when I was in my early days, I was so flattered, so hurting that I was like, oh, okay, great, come on board. And I made a few errors there. And then when I got an assistant, a girl who was really polished and amazing, she would slow me down because she could see through sometimes girl stuff that I didn't see. And she would, after the meeting or interview, she would say, well, what do you think about? And we would talk. And then she could bring stuff to my attention that I didn't really understand, a version of maybe manipulation, a lie that she uncovered or something like that because I wasn't paying attention. So, and it happens with men too. You know, it's the same story. It's not just a gender thing. So that's why you go nice and easy, hire slowly. Fire quickly, I think you can understand why. We would have like a demon liar, like just a real bad person who wanted the attention or something of the control of the kids. And I can't have that. I have to control the vibe of the kids. I don't control the kids. That's weird. But I have to know what's going on and control where we're heading. We're going to a celebration. Is there a holiday? Did someone pass away? Is there something sad? Do they need to talk? Do they need to dance? That's not to be shared. That is my strength. If I had a person try to jump on that energy, a teacher, an assistant, a manager, and they were focused too much on that energy, they were fired because they weren't doing their job. That's my job. Their job had certain descriptions, and obviously they weren't focused on them because they were doing my job. So that happened a few times, and that's crucial because what they do with Facebook and emails and text is they will create a story, and that story will make you the monster. And as they leave, they will take people with them and destroy your company in some way and remove money from your life and all from lies or something weird. So that is a very unfortunate, sneaky, realistic thing that happens. So that's why we say fire quickly. The last thing I will tell you about bringing people into the mix is that you will, believe it or not, I had a very strange situation. I mean, I didn't have a strange situation. I had a heaven-sent situation. I had people that were so successful in the world helping me that it was almost 100 steps beneath them. But like a lot of people who aren't satisfied with corporate world and the coldness of business out there and insurance, and they wanted to be around kids and organic art like I devoted my life to. So they would volunteer and be part of my life for next to nothing. And these people were of high quality, often wealthy, somewhat wealthy, but mostly just giving of their time, talents, and skills. I'm gonna say this in a crass way so that you can get the impact. My maintenance guy, the guy who hung our Christmas lights or changed our light bulbs because he knew I had to run the school when I used to change the light bulbs. Yeah, this old guy was in his prime the number 2 guy at Pratt and Whitney, airplane company, engines, Pratt and Whitney. He was dos. Can you understand how important that role is? How because his grandkids loved our energy, he would volunteer to work the scene. Isn't that crazy? So let's call him my custodian was more experienced and more successful than almost anybody who would come in the building. I once had the district attorney of, I think it was Kansas City. She was our attorney. And she was helpful, and she gave us her kid, and her kid was strong, and he would go on to Hollywood. He would get his own pilot, his own television show on NBC. I mean, it was crazy. One of my attorneys was the attorney for Samsung, Fuji, and the other Japanese companies that are escaping me. He could speak Japanese fluently. He's the one that gave me a bulletproof contract that Samsung uses. Slammed it down, said, "My daughter loves you. This is for you. Don't ever forget. Make everyone sign this because it'll protect you because you're so small they could just destroy you. If they want to work for you, they have to sign this." And it changed my life. I didn't know anything about that, but these are the people that were around me. I had a guy, oh man, he's one of my favorite guys. He was so positive. How do I keep him safe? He had an accounting firm. I'm pretty sure he's got partners, but he has 2,500 employees around the world. So I was like, whoa. And he taught me a lot of the things that I'm teaching you. One time he had a bill of about $150, $180. And let's call him Tom. I said, "Hey, Tom, hey, I need 180 for the kids' lessons." Oh, he gave me $500. He said, "Keep the change. I want you to stay in business. We want you here, Greg. We want you to thrive here." I was like, wow. Wow. Try to find a pizza guy who, makes $22 worth of pizzas and somebody gives him $500 and walks out. I was so blessed. It's just crazy to talk about. It's so crazy. And it really is crazy. I'm going to do a whole video on one mentor who I walked with every day. But I'm going to wrap up this video and tell you that this video is all about that line. You're going to hire slowly and fire quickly. Be careful of the people that you surround yourself and celebrate with the people that you surround yourself. See ya.